What's up, guys? It is me, Mad Samurai 84, and all I have to say is Happy New Year. And you know what that means? With a new year comes a new batch of games. So this is January's PS Plus plays. We got 3 titles. Let's play them. They all look very interesting. I've played through them. I have platinumed one of them, which I had in my back catalogue, but I'll tell you that one. And I've literally just did that the other day, and that's the reason why it's kind of taking me so long to kind of get around to recording this, because I've just been playing through that one. But anyway, let's jump into these games. If you've never seen one of these videos, basically I've just played through the games and I'll give you my final thoughts on each one, where I just say what I did like and what I didn't like about each one, just giving a vague, like, a little bit of commentary on it, and then I give a thumb score where I think it's a good game, and a thumb score where I think it's a good offering. So once I've talked about and given a score of all the games, we'll kind of give a recap of the month and give a final score for the month. So anyway, let's jump in. So, to start off January 2023, we have Axiom Verge 2. Now, this was released in August 2022, so it's only about, 5 months or so old, so it's didn't come out too long ago. And if you know anything about the Axiom Verge games, they were developed by basically one guy, really, and I think the sequel is just done by the one guy as well. I think it's more or less done by the Thomas Happ guy, so you have to kind of like give him a round of applause in a way. I've never played the first one. I've seen it. I have a physical copy sitting in my back catalogue, and hopefully I will get round to playing it. But it's nice that I've got the second one digitally anyway in my library. So when I do play the first one, and I say I enjoy it, hopefully I will. I will come back and kind of play through this one. But with this game, I have to say it's a very nice looking pixel Metroidvania game. And it controls really well. All the animations look really, really good. Just looking at it, and it controls extremely, extremely well. Doesn't feel stiff or anything. Everything is done to perfection. I feel like all the jumping, the grabbing, this and that is really, really nice, and it's really pleasant to look at. But I have to say the gameplay, very slow and boring to start with, but it does get a bit more enjoyable as you play through. You just need to get over that opening 1 to 2 hours, and then it starts to get a bit better. But to help that slow start, you can listen to the great soundtrack that accompanies the game. The first game had a really good solid soundtrack. I've never played the first one, but I've listened to the soundtrack because it was on Spotify. But as I've been playing through the second one, I can tell it has a very good soundtrack as well, because I've been listening to it and I've been enjoying it. So I have to say, well done. But yeah, I've started to get into the game, but only ever so slightly. But I do feel like for a game like this, it needs to start off on a good foot and not kind of make you feel like it's going to send you to sleep, because there was some points where I feel like, when I kind of play games very bit later at night, it was feeling like, oh god, I feel like I'm going to fall asleep playing this. But I will play through the first one before I carry on, and if I enjoy that, that will dictate where I come back to this. The story's premise, which I won't go into too much, really into, but it seems quite interesting of how it starts off. You're set right in the future. It kind of go to this alternate dimension type thing. Let's just put it like that. But I like the flow of the game. Yeah. It's rather slow, and it will put some people off from playing this type of game, just because of just how it's structured. In the end, it looks really nice. It has a great soundtrack and controls wonderful, but the choices in game itself isn't for everyone. And if you're hoping for it to be like the first installment, you will probably be disappointed. And for a one-man dev team virtually, I say this is a game that you'll have to put some time into, around that 1-2 hours, and it will start to reward you. But you have to say, for a one-man team, you have to give it applause, because it looks fabulous and it plays well. The game itself is questionable whether it's your thing or not. That is another thing. But when you look at its Metacritic, you look at its PS4 Metacritic, it sits at a 75. There is no score for the PS5. Oh, sorry, that was the PS4. That was 75. Sorry, idiot. PS5, no score from when I was looking. User score, the PS4 sits at 5.7, which I can understand, really. 75 probably seems, it's that cusp, really. You have to play a bit more into it, I feel like, to really kind of see that 75. But I feel like if you've played the first one and then you come play this one, I feel like you will be disappointed from the bat, really. And there's no user score for the PS5. That's worth mentioning. But I can understand that user score of playing it, and I didn't read the comments, but I can see why. But I think you need to put that time into it. But anyway, my thumb scores for the game. What should I give it as a game score? Well, I feel like it's a nice game. There are things I think you have to put the time in, and if you played the first one, yeah, you should play the second one. Really, should you play the second one before you play the first one? Probably not. Maybe I'm not sure how well the stories are connected, but I would say yeah, you probably should. But as a game score, I'm going to go with a thumb in the middle because it's all right. Nothing too great for me personally, but it does look really. I love the whole kind of pixel art type games, and this one looks really good, and it just controls so well. And like the enemies and the design of everything is just very well done. It's just the game itself is a bit, so far for me, I've put a little bit in where it started to get a little bit better for me personally. It's still a bit not too sure, so I think a thumb in the middle is pretty good. As an offering score, well, it's only about 5 months old. It's a sequel to a very well received game, because Axiom Verge, first one, was very well received in its circles, and I know a lot of people like to talk about it, really. Well, a lot of people I know. But I think it's an alright offering, really. But I was tempted. I still wasn't sure. I'm still probably thinking I'm probably giving it a little bit too much. But because it's only 5 months old, I'm going to go with a 3/4 of a thumb up as an offering score for this, because I just feel like I think it's an alright offering. You got 5 there, and you could probably get quite a bit of enjoyment out of it. But you have to play it. You have to stick in, get into it. Our second title for the new year is Fallout 76. This was released on November 2018. Now, I have to say, I didn't realise it came out in 2018. I thought, for some reason, this came out. I know it's not that far beyond it, but I thought it was more like 2019, 2020 or something. It came out. That's in my head. I didn't realise it. I was like, oh, did that come out in 2018? I didn't think it was that old, but clearly it is. Kind of is. Yeah, that's what I thought. But I know when this was released, there was so much talk about it. It was in such bad condition with all the controversy on its special edition. I thought I would never play this game, and this comes from a person that I'd loved Fallout 3 and Fallout 4, but when I saw this, I was like, oh god, no, thank you, and all the stuff it was going through, like, oh god, and it was one of those games I remember seeing being kind of discounted literally within the first month, like heavily discounted for physical copies, and I'm a physical game buyer. And yeah, it was being heavily slashed, and it's heavily slashed now to get a physical. You can find it. I'll talk about it a bit later, but you can find it for super cheap. But I remember having a friend of mine saying, "Oh yeah, I got it. I like it. It's really good." I'm like, He's like, "No, trust me, it's got a lot better." I said, whatever. I didn't care for this game when it came out, and it's not until I got this for free and I've started playing it, and I have to say, this is actually pretty good, really. I'm quite enjoying myself. It definitely has. A lot has gone into it to improve it over the 4+ years since its release. But the biggest letdown this is for me is that it's ugly as hell. They've just I don't know why they just can't make a nice looking Fallout or Elder Scrolls game. I'm sorry, but they all just look ugly. Really, Fallout 4. I thought was I love Fallout. I love playing Fallout 4, but graphically, I thought it was terrible. Really, even for the time it came out, I didn't think it was. And this for a 2018 game doesn't look good whatsoever. It really doesn't. I think Fallout 4 looks better than Fallout 76. Let's put it that way. And that's a massive disappointment. But that's never bothered. But they've never bothered to make it aesthetic pleasing to the eye. But there are still bugs galore. But they're bugs that won't ruin your playthrough. And the frame rate dips and has its dips and highs and stuff. But for the most part of me, it's been fine. And it's nice that you can play this game solo or with randoms or friends. I was being jumped on by some robots, and a player just magically appeared to give me a helping hand. And at the end, he gave me some ammo, and we gave our thumbs up and we walked off. And I was like, oh, you know what? That's actually really fun. You can just go out and help people and stuff. I think there's got a thing, because I remember seeing anything about there's the whole thing of, player death kills, people just going out killing you and stuff. But I think you can change it where you can you can have that not happening, and that's for me. Yeah. But I like how it's been playing out so far. It's really been nice. This will probably be the last Fallout game release we kind of get on PlayStation, but I have to say it's actually quite fun. You can tell this is a ploy to sell you extras and to send you just all the aesthetics and this and that. Because when you look at it, you can buy all these basic credits really to in-game money, where you can kind of just go to their kind of store to buy this, buy that, buy this pose, buy this outfit, buy that, play to win in a way. But I have to say, like, when I'm playing it, I'm like, oh, this is really good. But when I really think about it, I don't think this is a great offering for me personally as a physical collector, because I can pick up a brand new copy of Fallout 76 for like under £5 brand new online. I just get it from a store under £5, which shows you that is anyone wanting to buy this game? I don't know. Like, this game has been more or less at big discounts since launch due to all those issues it had, all those things, and it kind of like. And you know what? I have to give to Bethesda. They have done a lot of work. They have really improved it, and they've added a lot of content. I think that was a lot of things. It was like kind of like bare bones content in a way. But I didn't jump in from the start. I'm just trying to remember it from all those years ago. I didn't realise it's been over 4 years since it came out. It's crazy. But I can definitely say I will be playing through this, as I've been really enjoying it. But we are getting a 4+-year-old game that can be bought for a couple of pounds, so the value isn't there. But I am really enjoying it. It controls very well. It controls like a nice Fallout game, and just like the world, it's just very nice. It's a little bit more bright and colourful than Fallout 4, but I'm really, really enjoying it. There are graphical bugs. There are kind of level design bugs and stuff, and character models do look a bit ugly, but I'm actually just getting into it, and I was playing through it, and I wasn't thinking. I was just like, oh yeah, this is actually quite fun. I'm actually quite enjoying this game. And when you look at its Metacritic, the Metacritic isn't good for this game, because it was, when you look at them, basically they're all from the release, really. The Metacritic, the critic score is a 53, so it's not really good, and the user score for it is a 2.8. You're like, oh wow. But I think if you were to base the score on today's version, I would say you're looking probably a 70 to a mid 80 type score. I think user score will probably run from 6 to 8.5, really. It could be anything between then, it depends on the person. But yeah, it's that score isn't what its condition is today, which is a shame because it's actually very nice and it's quite enjoyable, and it's just a new Fallout game where you can play with your friends if you wanted to, or you can. And the nice thing, you can just play on your own if you want to. Yeah, you might come across some actual randoms you win in the world you get put in, but that doesn't bother me ever so the slightest. It kind of be quite nice as I had some random just come and help me from being overly like destroyed, really, which is quite cool. It's nice, but I've played through the game, kind of like said a little bit what I did like about it, what I kind of don't like about it. What should I give it as my thumb scores? Now, game score, well, I think it's a good game, really. I think they've done a lot well. My score would be different if it was from the initial launch version, but I think the version we are being given is a really good game. So my game score is going to be a 3/4 of a thumb up because I think it is a good game. I do enjoy a good old Fallout. Is it a system seller for me personally? No, but I do like playing them. Now my offering score, well, I've actually upgraded the score a little bit for this. It's a 4+ year old game. Technically, really, as an offering, monetary wise, money wise, you can get it for really cheap. Physically, let's just put it that. I'm not sure what the price is digitally. If you outside of this, how much it would be, but it's probably going to be ranging probably between the £15 to £20 mark at least. But I can pick it under £5. I can from online. But I'm gonna go with, I feel like it's actually pretty good offering. We got a decent, good Fallout game that's got a ton of content you can get in there. You can play with your friends, play with randoms. So I'm gonna give an offering score a thumb in the middle because I think it's not too bad. It could have been better, but all considering, it's got a lot better. It has. So yeah, I'm gonna stick with a thumb in the middle. Now on to our last game for January 2023, and that is Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Now we've got a PS4 and a PS5 version. The PS4 version came out in November 2019, and the PS5 version came out in June 2021. And I have been wanting to play this because I have have a physical in my back catalogue. And I have to say, I have finished my playthrough. I have done all that. Been playing through it. That's why it's been taking so long. And I've got my platinum, really. So I bought a physical last year, just after Christmas, because went super cheap. I was like, oh yeah, I really want to play that. Yeah, it was like, I think I got it like a brand new copy of it for like £13, whether that's $16, whatever it is. And I was like, yeah, I'll go for that. Boom. And I've been getting around. I was like, oh, I want to play this, and this finally came up. And I was like, all right, I'll knock it off my backlog now, so I can just, gives me a little push to play for it, and I can safely say, how I finished it. There is a little bit of a slog, trudging along to get that platinum, but I'll just chat about that. I wasn't going to do it at first, but I changed my mind. I have questioned that decision, but I will get into that, as I said. But I have to say, on the most part, I have really enjoyed this game. It looks nice in most parts, and it controls very well, and it does bring back the fun of like the Force Unleashed games to me personally, which I thoroughly enjoyed both of them, really, and I really hope that we get some sort of remake, remaster, new one. This is probably like the new one or whatever it is. But yeah, I did like those ones. All the Jedi abilities are really excellent, and the combat is simple, but it has a nice depth to it where you can easily pull off everything and and feel like you are like the second coming of the one, really. So it's actually very satisfying. Even though some parts, maybe some enemies, probably does feel like a little bit repetitive with the combat, but probably goes part and parcel. It's probably that kind of slightly a bit like hack and slash type in a way, but it's not. The story is solid, but it's not the best of the Star Wars games, but it's held up nicely with a pleasant supporting cast that you get on your ship, which is called the Mantis. You don't actually physically fly the Mantis, but it's a ship you cruise around to. I did find things get a little bit repetitive because there's only a few planets you visit and you have to go back and forth with the story to them, so you'll be kind of retreading the same ground multiple times. And if you're doing trying to get all the collectibles and all the trophies, get that platinum or all those achievements, it's going to be the same thing. You're going to be treading the ground a bit more, and it's a little bit annoying, really. But I have to say, as I played through the game, I have realised this more after finishing the story than trying to obtain that platinum trophy. This game is just full of graphical bugs, level design bugs, gameplay bugs, the lot. You can easily mess the game up by jumping to an area where well, when you go there is like an incorrect traversal audio, like, oh, you're supposed to just follow the route, but I'm like, okay, but I can see that the actual thing down there which I'm supposed to go to, I can just literally just hop down there. If I hop down there, basically that whole area really hasn't loaded, really, and you will end up in a mess. You could wind up in a really big mess, really. And I've had to kind of quit out to the main menu, and it's, if I haven't saved, if I haven't used a meditation spot, because you use these meditation spots to kind of basically save and upgrade your character, you lost your progress, which is just terrible. This flaw detection, it will just basically disappear, and you'll just fall through the game to your death. In the matters where you can either disappear into the ground or just be stuck behind a wall, it's just rather poor workmanship. It really, really is. And we have to talk about the biggest issue of the lot, and that is Cal's running animation. Whoever put that in the game, I really hope you're not working on the sequel and this is fixed, because it's just comical. It reminds me of Phoebe running in Friends. It was just terrible. But the slog of getting the collectibles and finding the crates, the secrets, this and that, and having to run through the level to get a certain point is a real pain. Yes, there are shortcuts and stuff, but which you unlock through the most part, but you're still jumping, swinging to get from part of the level to scan some sort of scratch on the wall for your data bank, blah, blah, blah. It would have been probably nicer to have some sort of fast travel or something like that, for you can get to certain parts a little bit quicker. It's just a pain in the ass, and if you get all the way to end and then you're like, all right, now I've got to leave the level. I've got to go all the way back to the ship or the other side. It's very time consuming. But in the end, I have really enjoyed the game. But I also have had some very frustrations with it on the technical side, really. But it's a really good Star Wars game, which is what we want, really, And getting this, it's pretty good timing that they're giving us this with Star Wars Jedi Survivor coming out in March, and this makes me more interested in checking this out sooner rather than later. I just hope they've done a better job with the level design and also the running animation side. I just hope they've figured those problems out, because when you want to play through the game normally, you don't really see many of those issues. It's not until you go back, or if you actually just try to do things a bit quicker, then you mess things up. And I think that's very actually poor, really. It's really, really poor work in a way, because when you've kind of gone down in a pit and you're supposed to go that way, but you get this box and you can kind of work your way back up to where you literally just came from. as soon as you hit that, you start to just go through the level, and that is terrible. Why? I don't understand. Why is that a thing? But anyway, it is what it is. When you look at its Metacritic, the PS4 sits at a 79 score, which, you know what, I think I probably agree, really. There's no score for the PS5, but there are some scores sitting there, but not enough to make a proper Metacritic. Play gave it a 90, PS Universe gave it a 90, and Push Square gave it a 70. For user scores, the PS4 is sitting at a 7.6 and the PS5 is sitting at an 8.2. Personally, I see it between that kind of, it's a good between that 7 and 8 mark for me, really. It's probably like that 7.5, well, I'll say 7 to 8.5, really. It's in between there, really, fluctuating. You know, if I hadn't found all those issues, it'd probably be like on that 8 mark, but with all those issues I found, I'm like, oh, it's probably a bit below, because I'm seeing it a little bit more on the technical side. But now I've played through it, I've talked what I liked about it, what I didn't like about it, issues, yada yada yada. What do I give as my thumb scores? Well, as a game score, even with all the issues and the bugs, it's still actually a very fun game to play, and it's a nice Star Wars game, really. It's set in between that kind of episode 3, episode 4. It's in that kind of timeline of, what is it, about 17 years or so, wherever it's supposed to be. And it fits nicely. It's a very nice game. And I would give it a 3/4 thumb up, really, because I feel like it's a very good game. And an offering score, well, it's, what's it about? PS4 version is what, 3 and a bit years old. PS5 version that we got is I'm quite surprised the PS5 version took so long to come out. Really, I don't understand why it took so long, or why it wasn't more closer to the actual release of the PS5 or so. You know, but I say, what's that? Year and a bit over a year and a half is. I feel like it's not a bad. It's a good offering. It's a good offering in time for the new one, and I'm tossed up between giving it a full thumb up or a 3/4 thumb up. But I think I've just gone with a full thumb up because I was just really enjoyed the game, and I was like, oh well, you know, good timing. Got Survivor coming in March, perfect. You can play this, enjoy it, get that one, perfect. So I think it is probably a good offering overall. Yeah, so we'll stick with a full thumbs up for an offering for Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. And now we've played through all the games, we should look at as an overall score for the month. So we can just give it, really, so we can see, was it a good month overall? So first up, yep, we had Axiom Verge, sequel to a kind of well-liked Metroid Vania type game. I gave that a game score as a thumb in the middle and an offering score of a 3/4 thumb up. Very nice looking game. Next up was the controversial Fallout 76. I have to say it's a lot better since it came out. Really, it really has done a lot more, really, since that initial release and all those issues it had. I gave that a game score of a 3/4 thumb up and an offering score of a thumb in the middle. And then to cap off the month, we were given Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. And I have planned in this game, I've played through it all, and I have to say, I have enjoyed it. It has lots of issues and bugs. But I think overall my experience has been mostly on the positive. So I'm going with a game, so that's why I went with a game score of a 3/4 thumb up and an offering score of a full thumb up. So now those are the individual scores for each game. So overall for January 2023, what are we going to go? I feel like the overall games kind of score, I think we overall we got the games are pretty good, really. So I'm going to go overall game score of 3/4 thumb up because I feel like it's pretty much there. Some people will say, "Oh, well, no, this one sucked, this sucked," but you know what? I understand if you like this, if you don't like that. I understand, but for me personally, I feel like it's very on the positive side. It could have probably gone thumb in the middle overall because it is questionable, but I feel like it's a pretty good month. As a offering score for the month, um, still feel like same with my offering score. Some I probably feel like I've probably scored them too highly, but you know what? I feel we got a pretty good start to the year. Um, so that's why I'm going to go with a overall offering score of a 3/4 of a thumb up. Because I think overall we've got a good batch of games really, and you can spend a lot of time playing these games really. Playing with friends, playing on your own. Really, you've got a full-on story game. You've got a nice kind of indie-looking pixel game, and you've got a kind of massive open world RPG game which you can play on your own or play with friends or with randoms, really. And they all play very well. So I have to say, bravo, a good start to the year. Really, hopefully things will get better. There's definitely going to be duds. There's always duds, but there's always positives. Really, fingers crossed. 2023 is a good year for PS Plus. So anyway, that is this month's video done. Really, it's taken me a while to get this done because I was playing through Fallen Order and kind of just getting too focused on platinuming it when I decided to platinum it. So yeah, so a little bit delayed. Anyway, let me know in the comments what games you liked for this month. You know, did you think any of them good, or do you think they're all bad? What do you hope for next month? Let's have these discussions. Anyway, please like and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next video. And hopefully, I'm going to be working on some probably just kid-friendly playthrough type things, really, and some other playthroughs. Probably going to be some videos I'm probably going to be trying to do. Just time, 2 kids and work and family and stuff isn't the easiest thing. But anyway, take care, guys. As I said, like and subscribe, and I shall see you next time. Goodbye.